So when using the manual setting, we need to take our camera and set the dial to M. This means that we have complete control over the exposure of the camera, both the shutter speed and the aperture size, as well as the ISO. To control the manual exposure, there's one bit of your camera that you need to get very familiar with. I'm using a Canon here, but on your camera it will be exactly the same. Let's have a look through the viewfinder and let's explore the light meter. We can use our manual settings to completely control the exposure of the photograph. So I've set up a shot with Claire as a model. I'm going to do a portrait shot, but I'm going to do it in landscape mode so that I can demonstrate the light meter for you. I've half depressed the shutter button, which brings up my light meter on the display, and currently the cursor is right at 0, which means that I've got the correctly exposed settings for this photograph. I'm using f4.5 and shutter speed 1/160th of a second, and we'll take the first photograph. Thank you, Claire. So there we can see we've got a nicely exposed picture of Claire with the correct lighting levels for the photograph. In this example, we've underexposed the picture by 1 stop, which actually brings out the colour within the picture much more. It's enhanced it. So sometimes we underexpose to enhance colour. In this example, we've actually overexposed by 1 stop. This means that the model's features are much lighter, but also much softer. It's a much more pleasing composition for this kind of portrait, which we tend to call high-key portraiture. One really creative way to use the manual settings is to control the exposure triangle of ISO, shutter speed and aperture size to actually paint light trails into an image. If we set a really slow shutter speed, but give a corresponding aperture and ISO setting to give a good exposure, and then take a photograph of a car moving through the frame, we can use the car's lights to paint a trail across the image, which can give some really creative effects. Fairground rides are also really good examples of how you can use this technique. There's no real right or wrong way of doing this. It's very much trial and error. So keep practicing, keep working on it, and keep checking the images as they're coming up on your screen so that you get the image that you really want.